You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today. But before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. And finally, our third sponsor is 988. The Oklahoma 988 Mental Health Lifeline. 988 is a direct 3-digit lifeline that connects you with trained behavioral health professionals that can get all Oklahomans the help that they need. Learn more by visiting 988oklahoma.com. That's 988oklahoma.com. And now, let's get into today's episode.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode coming to you, we're not coming to you, but we have a Swedish-type podcast today, and we're going to talk about golf, which is something I love to do, so especially European golf. Please welcome to the podcast my guest today, Maja Stark. Maja, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So for people who don't know about Maja, I've got a few stats. Obviously, you're kind of in your rookie season, but you played at Oklahoma State. You won. You got the scoring record, or had the scoring record. I think it might still stand. I'm not too sure. I haven't checked that up. But Big 12 Conference Player of the Year. You had a great run at Nationals. You played some pretty epic golf, I guess, your rookie year. I'm sure you're super proud of that. I'm sure mom and dad are thrilled. The family's thrilled to have you dominating, I would say, the Ladies European Tour, and it seems like a bit of a Swedish domination on the Ladies European Tour as well, which is great for you. And I think, you got some teammates up there at the top of the leaderboard. But let's go all the way back. Let's go to, where does golf start for you?
Golf starts on the little kids course at my home course with just my dad and my grandpa and my brother when I was 6. So, yeah, very convenient.
Are you kind of the youngest? Are you in the middle? Do you see dad and older brother playing? Is it just family occasion?
I'm the youngest in my family. I have quite a lot of cousins, but I'm one of the youngest of them too. But yeah, now, play with my dad sometimes, but sometimes he doesn't know when to shut up. So I try to kind of stay away from that sometimes to not get annoyed. But both my dad and my brother, they work at golf courses. So it's a big golf family.
Yeah, no doubt. That's really cool. So obviously you kind of fall into golf, you find a passion for it, you start getting better at it, you're playing amateur golf. And one thing I know kind of through my European golf stuff is that the Swedish national kind of federation has a very good system of getting players through. So I'm interested in, when did you kind of first get into that the national federation team, and then did they start developing you as a player? So when was the earliest time you made the team to Sweden?
Well, they have like a future national team where I went first when I was maybe 15. And then you get to go to a few camps a year. Sometimes the coach comes out to tournaments, and we have a little camp at tournaments too. And we all go together in like a little group and do the practice runs and stuff. But for the real national team, I wasn't officially a part until 2017. So when I was 18. And then, so 2017 to 2021.
Yeah, and it seems like you had a pretty successful time playing for the national team, traveling around European ladies team championships, and had a blast doing that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned so much during those times, and the coach that we had kind of followed with us up through junior golf and then to the ladies team, and then he's trying to go up to the pros now. So it's very nice to have this constant leadership. And he's a great coach. So it's just very nice to have him stay with us.
Yeah. So when you start playing for the national team, then, when you're about 18 and 2017, that kind of time, is that when you're kind of on the radar for, I think I want to go to the States. I think that's when my next step is to, instead of going to college in Sweden, my next step is to go to college in America.
Yeah, I think it was very natural because a lot of the older Swedes were already at college, and everyone around me was going to college, both in my high school and in just the national team. We were all going to college in the US. We don't have really the same culture around it back at home. So we have one golf college, but it's not like you compete against other schools and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit different, and it was just nice to have that so competitive nature that you have in the US instead of staying at home and travel by yourself to tournaments.
Yeah, traveling in a team environment is so much fun. I don't know, you just grow, like I said, you grow as a person, you grow just as a team together, you build fantastic friendships that you'll have for a lifetime. And the good thing about college is you're pretty much doing it, week in, week out. And, it doesn't matter where you go, you're still having a great time. So when did you get the call, to go to OSU? Was there many others that you were interested in or interested in you? And why did you choose Oklahoma State?
Yeah, there were a couple of others. So we visited University of Alabama, Louisiana State, Oklahoma State, and Arizona State. And I just liked OSU because, well, I got the coaches that I committed to left right before I got there. But I really liked the coaches that were there before. One of them was Swedish. He had played on the team. And the head coach was just a really nice person. So I figured that would be a good match. I didn't really feel like I needed coaches. I mostly just needed friends. And then, to get the competitiveness of the American golf instead of the European. And I just thought that it felt great. The practice facilities at Carson are absolutely amazing. They've always had pretty good teams, so I just felt like it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, and that Swedish guy who was that was Par, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So small world, funny story. But the university that I played at was a small Division II one in Oklahoma City, and before I came up, Par was the assistant coach.
Oh, no way.
So he came from my university, small Southern Nazarene University, small, Division II. I think it was NAIA at the time when he was there as an assistant, and then he obviously came up to Oklahoma State. So, so that's kind of, and a couple of guys on my team were Swedish, and they knew him as well that's kind of how they ended up there. And that was Johan Anderson and Andreas Anderson. Who are now back, I think, in Sweden. But small world, and that's hilarious that you obviously know who Par is. And really, I think Par taught everyone on our team before I got there to hit stingers because no one knew how to do that properly.
Oh, yeah. I love that he just loved playing with the team and challenging them and say, hey, could you hit this shot for me, please? And then they just had to do it. Yeah, I really like that about him.
Yeah, that's so cool to have that because I think a lot of coaches out here and people who don't really know the golf world, a lot of the coaches don't play. They're calling kind of more team management, right? Whereas the assistants might have still played or they're still trying to play and they still want to get out there and be competitive. So you commit to Oklahoma State, you fly out to Stillwater. Did you come on a visit before you came out?
Yeah. How was that visit? Yeah, first I went on the visit just with an unofficial visit, and I had my mom with me. We traveled with another player. Well, we traveled with Lynn Grant and her dad because we were all interested in the same schools. But we didn't get to see much then, really. And then I went on my official visit, and it just felt nice. Everyone's super nice, and we get to go to a football game to see what that was like. And it felt like, I guess you would get that feeling from a lot of places before you go there. You don't really know how it works. It's just nice and exciting to see a new place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the visit thing, you're right. It's kind of a strange thing, right? Because you're kind of on vacation, but you're also like trying to figure out where you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life. And everyone is trying to sell you, right? Everyone's trying to convince you to come here. So everyone's being so nice to you as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's very nice, very luxurious.
Yeah. That's kind of the one thing, like Oklahomans are just great. And that's one of the reasons why I stayed here. Like everyone's just super nice, just generally as well. Like they actually, really care about it. But obviously, you come here and what was, I guess, the first, had you kind of ever experienced heat like it being here before?
Well, I came in January.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came 6 months later than I should have. And then it was pretty funny. It was fine. The first day I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then the next day was a snowstorm. So that was kind of a shock that it could just switch like that. And I mean, Oklahoma just keeps switching the weather like an on and off switch. So I don't really think I've never been there in August. Not really in September because so then COVID, right when I started, COVID hit, and then I was home for 6 months, and then I came back middle of August, but I had to be in quarantine for 2 weeks, so I didn't really get out until October. So I've always missed the warm months.
Yeah. So then what leads to you, I guess you weren't really in school for that long then, sounds like.
Not really, just 1.5 years, but physically in school, I only had in-person classes, I think my first semester, and that was just 2 months. So that kind of sucked.
Yeah, it does. Because you're doing great. Obviously, like things worked out the way that you wanted them because you're on tour and you've won, and you're doing the right thing. You made the right decision. But obviously looking back, you're like, oh, I wish I could have had 3-4 years or like a full college experience of going to tailgates all the time and like just having a full semester of it just being like, yeah, this is normal to me, right? Or a full couple of years. But yeah, so you did play nationals. You played obviously, a full year or year and a half schedule, and you played nationals in Arizona and almost won, right? You guys came super close.
Yeah. We really played super well in the semifinals against Duke. And then I really think I underperformed in the finals. I was really disappointed in myself. And I think the whole team were really disappointed by the results, but still, proud of ourselves. And but yeah, it was still such a fun experience. And I always think it's somewhat nice to see when people just show how much they cared about it, because everyone was crying and there was just so much love there and support, even though we had still lost the biggest matches of our lives.
Yeah, like as a school and kind of, for the school, right? Like it was kind of like, last year, it was kind of like putting Cowgirl golf on the map. It's like, oh, we're back, because when you think of Oklahoma State, people always think of the guys team, right? They always think of Ricky and Victor and all of the, and all the players and Uline and whoever. But it was really cool last year, when that happened, for you guys to be like, no, like the girls program is also equally as good. And we almost won nationals. We should have won nationals. And, we're producing great players. And you guys had a stacked team that year. I know it's a little different now. Some people left. But that year you really had a really great team. Yeah,
it was super fun to play there. And then, Coach Holder came out to watch the final, and, he's known for being a really tough guy and like not being happy when he loses. But he said that we should all be proud of ourselves and that we gave it our best. And he had never said that before. Pretty much he would give you a fist bump if you won a competition, but that was it. And then when he said that when we lost, I think, it just really felt like even though we lost, they still really cared about us.
Yeah. At that point, had you made your mind up that you were going to turn pro?
No, I hadn't. So in June, right when I came home, the coach Robertson, he called me up and said, "Hey, I know you're qualifying this year. Like, I was gonna go to Q school in the fall. So do you want to turn pro now so we can get someone in on your scholarship who can play the full year?" And then I just kind of thought, yeah, why not? I mean, I felt like I was good enough. It was obviously a big decision, and I was really planning on staying in Oklahoma, and I had left all my stuff there. I was ready to move into a new place, but then I didn't really mind the switch.
Yeah, because I mean, for you, I mean, obviously it's a big deal, right? Like, but like you said, I mean, I think at the time you got to, I think it was 6th in the world rankings as an amateur. I mean, generally, if you're in the top 50, most people like you should turn pro. I think, and also I think with women's golf, it's kind of in a really interesting period at the moment with people like yourself and others that are coming on tour, people like Lynn, you, the kind of new breed and the new, I guess, generation of golfers. It's kind of like a switch because now I think you've all got a lot more speed, right? You're all like kind of quote bombing it. It's not like Lexi is the only one anymore, right? You're all kind of up there, you're all sending it, but you're also all still, I mean, you're still like most women golfers, like you can chip and putt like nobody else, right? So it's really interesting. And now it's obviously you made the right decision because you won, but it's really cool to look back and see, you're like, I had the confidence in myself and I went and did it.
Yeah, for sure. I really doubted, and I mean, I always have the nightmare scenario in my head when I make those kind of big decisions. But my coach in Sweden, he always says, "Don't expect anything, but be prepared for everything." So I was prepared that it could go really well, and also that it could just go super poorly. I would have to, borrow money from somewhere. So I just had the plan A, but I also had plan P. Like I had every single plan for every scenario. But then, yeah, I think that just made me a bit more relaxed when I knew that whatever happens is gonna work itself out. If I run out of money, that's fine. Like I'll just start over. That's where I started from scratch. So I mean, I could do it again. So yeah, I think it was the right decision because I really felt done with college and school and college golf. I obviously, the nicest part about Oklahoma was just to hang out with your friends 24/7 and travel with the team. It was always so much fun. So yeah, I do miss that part about it.
Yeah, and I think with reaching nationals and doing so well, and also you played the Augusta Women's Am as well, right? So you got to play Augusta, which I'm sure was incredible. So you, like I said, you kind of ticked a lot of the boxes in the amateur world, even though like you might not have won what you wanted to win. You experienced a lot of the stuff as well, and then obviously you turned pro and kind of seemed to go out and storm the first 3 events, right? You went 2 out of your first 3 on the Ladies European Tour. That's what the stat says on Wikipedia anyway.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of knew early on.
Yeah, but I mean, if it didn't turn out that way, I think I would have been pissed that I actually turned pro and didn't just stay and mature more. But I'm happy it worked out.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are. I mean, I had Jay Moore on the podcast, about 6 months ago. And, we were talking about golf in general. And, I think he said something like, it obviously brings him great pleasure and makes him super happy when he sees people turning pro and winning. Like he's clearly, he had a part in that, and he's doing great things up there with both programs. But it was interesting to hear his story, and I mean, obviously a hell of a golfer in his own right, doing telling his story and basically winning the Walker Cup, or had the winning point in the Walker Cup the one year. But tell me about kind of this year, then this rookie season you've had, winning, I think, 5 times, and then one of them was a co-sanctioned event, right? Or was that 6 total? So you have your LPGA tour card, I think is what it says.
Yeah. I think it's 5 on the European tour, and well, one of those 5 were in the LPGA one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't expect it, but it's very nice that it happened. And I don't know, it's just when I got to play the US Open a couple of times as an amateur and I was like top 20, I really felt like I belong out here. I could win stuff. And then I went out and I proved to myself that I could win stuff. And then it was just like, well, let's win more. Let's see how good we can get. And then obviously I got this opportunity thanks to the co-sanctioned win. And now I just want to be out here and prove that I can win on the highest level too.
Yeah, I get when you get that first win, you know, it's kind of like unlocking the door, right? It's like, oh, I'm good enough now. I can do this. I should win. I can win every week, right? That realization of, yeah, I can win here. I can do this. And then, you know, you start, it seems like your playing style is pretty aggressive as well. So yes. I think that probably suits you.
Yeah. And it's so nice to, like, when you get the winners category, you get your card for this season and the next. So you don't even have to think about like, oh, how many points do I have? Blah, 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 blah. Because I think that would just make me tense. But now I don't even have to worry about that. And I think that just allows me to play more aggressively and have that aggressive mindset. Like, oh, it doesn't matter if I don't make the cut this week, because I've probably learned something from it. And I mean, it doesn't affect me at all in where I can play. So it's a very nice situation to be in.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, especially when you got 6 holes to go and you're like, hey, I'm in kind of T15, but if I make a huge run and birdie the last 6, I'm going to have a chance to finish in top 5. But if I triple and double and I'm 8 over for the last 6, it doesn't matter. Like, that's a really nice position to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, not going into the weeks either thinking, oh, if I don't do well this week, I have to play. Like some people out here, they say, oh, if I do well this week and next, I don't think I have to play these 10 weeks in a row. And that would be nice for me. I'm like, 10 weeks in a row I've tried 5 once and I was so sore, like everything hurt. My mentality, just I couldn't think. I just had like brain farts all the time. I couldn't focus really. But yeah, so it's a really tough situation that they're in, and I really like applaud them for making it through it and actually like doing the 10 weeks when they feel like they have to.
Yeah, you're kind of like, I mean, you're locked in, right? You're kind of forced to play those to make money to keep your card. And then thankfully that's a position that you don't ever have to worry about for like at least the next 2 years, and I doubt ever. But tell me about so you're playing in the States at the moment. Is your plan to live out here and stay out here and play on LPGA Tour?
I don't plan on living here, but I plan on staying here and playing, I don't know, 10 years. So yeah. For now, the plan is to stay on the best tour and try to see how much I can win here.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's great. It's a great opportunity. You obviously have the beauty of picking either tours and, like I said, coming over here for a 3 or 4 week stretch and then going home and enjoying it and some time off, and seems like the ideal way to do it. Tell me about the other thing I want to talk to you about as well is Solheim Cup. Like that, looking up must be for you growing up. I know it was in Sweden a few years ago at Halmstad, I believe. I actually played that golf course once. Well, I say once. We played it for a weekend European Team Championships. I was terrible. But I do remember, though, it was the middle of summer, and I was walking to the tee because you walked from the hotel because we stayed right there. I was walking to the tee box at like 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and there was people pouring out of the nightclub in the hotel. And I'm just like carrying my clubs. I'm thinking, I'd rather be with them. I'd rather be them right now because I'm hitting it sideways. Yeah. I'd rather be them crawling out of a nightclub at 7 a.m. with a hangover than actually going to play, which was the state of my golf game at the time. But obviously, it's held at Solheim Cup. It's a great golf course. Obviously, you know, Swedish golf is in the women's world, and the men's world. But obviously, for you, in this, you know, women's world, Swedish golf, you got some absolute stars, you know, some standouts that you've looked up to. So what, you know, and with the European golf last year, you know, was it last year or two? Yeah, last year maybe they played right and they played great out in the States. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, whatever. So yeah, what kind of is your? I mean, no doubt it's a goal, but have you ever been to one before? What's your experience with people like that and tournaments? Like the Solheim Cup.
Yeah, I grew up with playing team sport. Well, I played soccer for many years because my dad used to be a soccer coach, and I just love the team sports and the camaraderie that comes with that. And then, I started golf, and you don't really get the same thing. I mean, obviously, a lot of people still root for you, but they always want to beat you. Whereas I feel like with team sports, it's just one person's win is everyone's win. And that's how we try to do in golf. But you always have someone trying to beat you. And yeah, I was looking at a documentary that we had back in Sweden that was about the 2013 Solheim Cup when they played in Denver, and they won for the first time on Europe won for the first time on American soil. And it was a lot about, Lotta Neumann and Caroline Hedwall, because Caroline, she was a rookie, I think, and Lotta was the captain. And that just made me really want to play the Solheim Cup. Like, I didn't care about anything else in golf, really. I just wanted to be so good that I could play in the Solheim Cup one day. And yes, looking pretty good, I think, right now. And I went to I was on the team Europe at the 2017 Junior Solheim Cup. And then we obviously got to stay and watch the whole week. And that was also so much fun to actually, and I think it helps to see that the players, they don't hit all perfect shots, but they make it work. And that's when I really felt like, oh, well, maybe I'm not as far away from turning pro as I thought I was, because I'd never been to a women's competition before. So that really helped me with confidence.
Yeah, and probably, I mean, winning, you obviously won, a bunch of times now, and winning, you probably had a huge realization as well when you won and you didn't hit a perfect shot every single time, right? Like, you can win and you don't have to be at your best.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I felt like I didn't win last week, but I shot -16, and it felt absolutely awful at times. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Shots were going just so wide, and I don't think I've hit it that wide in, I don't know, a couple of years, but still be able to shoot -16 in 4 rounds. I'm very happy with that. And that's when I feel like my game has really reached a new level, because it doesn't need to be perfect, because something else will still work. Like my half long putting, 15 to 20 foot, was really good last week. So I made a lot of birdies, and that just weighs up for, all the bad shots I had. I managed to save a bunch of pars, and that's just a confidence builder, because then you know that, oh, I can miss it, but I can still try to become the new trash queen instead of Christy Kerr.
Yeah, and I think I looked at your scorecard the last round, and you'd had 5 or 6 birdies in a row. And I was just and after what you just said, I hit it everywhere, but the putter was hot. It's just yeah, you still have it, right? You still have moments of brilliance. And like I said, to have an off week, to your standards, and still shoot 16 under. And I think there was a lot of people tied, right, at T3 last week. So
oh, yeah.
Your finish looked a lot worse on paper than it actually was. Because there was 8 million people at T3. But the one thing I'm kind of interested in, and this is just for the golf nerd in me, are you a tinkerer? Are you kind of to the numbers? Are you what are you like as a golfer? Or do you just say, give me the track, are you a TrackMan person, or is it more feel?
It's more feel. I've started to notice that when I use TrackMan and everything like that, I just get so stuck in the technique stuff, and I'm like, well, it looks great, but the shots are going everywhere. So what do? I have no idea, because it looks exactly how I want to, but I'm thinning every single shot. And obviously, no swing can be perfect. Some people are close to having it, but it takes a lot of work, and I just don't have it. I don't think my swing can ever look perfect. I'll just deal with what I can. with what I have, because I know that I've hit like perfect golf shots without my swing looking perfect. So I'm trying to take the perfectionist part away. But no, I don't have a TrackMan right now. I think I'm gonna get one for the winter. Just because it's nice to have when you're doing technique stuff and you are hitting into a net and you can't see the ball where it's flying. But during the season, no, I try to skip it.
Yeah. The games that you have on the TrackMan are great, right? It spits out random numbers. That's probably the best thing that I use it for, or used one for in the past. Are you, tell me about like your pre-shot routine. Do you do anything special, or do you have it nailed, or does it change every time?
I think I have it nailed pretty much. It's a little bit easier now that I have my caddy had, because then I don't have to spend as much energy with thinking about the numbers to the front of the green, to the pin, to carry over bunker. So I always look in my yardage book, see, like, put out the dot in the yardage book, where's the pin, and then I see, okay, is it close to, can I easily get short-sighted here or whatever, and then I make the decision. I say, okay, let's hit it this number, and then I just go for it. And I mean, sometimes I don't do it correctly, because you say, okay, don't aim at the pin, aim at the tree there, just focus on the tree. And sometimes I'm like, well, I just like, right before I hit the ball, I'm like, I just look at the pin a little bit more. And then it usually ends up going straight towards the pin instead of the tree that I was aiming at. So it's it's not perfect, but it pretty much always works out. It's not because of the pre-shot routine that I mess up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the internal battle with golf, right? Is you're standing over like a, I don't know, 140 yard shot, and you're like, not really a perfect number, but I fancy hitting like a half shot and cutting one in there. I shouldn't really go at the slag, but why not, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You pull it off, great. If you don't, you could be making bogey or double. But that's really interesting that, I think we all do that, right? I think everyone listening that's played golf, no matter what level you are, York is kind of, you have that internal battle. Mm-hmm. What about, do you have any superstitions? Do you mark your ball in a certain way? Is there anything else that you do that's like kind of funky?
Well, I mean, I don't know any. Well, I think I know one golfer who doesn't mark the ball in the same way every time, but I've always marked this ball in the same way. So I always have two little dots above the logo. But I never touch a trophy before I win it, because I don't know who I heard it from, but someone said that if you touch a trophy, you'll never win it. And that's probably not true, but I'll go with it, because it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't belong to me, so I won't touch it.
Yeah, it's bad karma for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one thing that I mean, I don't get to play for many trophies very often, but when I do, I'm definitely going to take that to heart, and I'm never going to touch a trophy ever again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I win it. That's great advice.
At Karsten, they had Victor's USM trophy just standing in the pro shop for a while, and people would go up and touch it and hold it, and I was like, you can't touch it. That's his. That's no one else's. Even though I could never win a USM trophy, I'm like, I won't touch it because it's not mine, and no one else should either.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we're gonna do some quick fire ones to finish up. What is your favorite club in the bag?
Pitching wedge.
Yeah. Do you have a specific pitching wedge that you love, or just the pitching wedge?
No, just the pitching wedge. It seems to always work out.
Next question is, what is your lowest round?
63. Or 62 in qualifying, and then 63 in tournaments.
At Stillwater Country Club or at Carson?
The 62 was at Stillwater, and the 63 was at the LPGA in Northern Ireland.
Nice. Favorite golf course?
Olympic Club, San Francisco. But I've actually added one because we went to Loch Lomond, me and my management team, and that was very, very nice. So kind of
how many hole-in-ones do you have?
2.
And any of them in the States?
Yeah, both. One at Karsten, and then so I waited 21 years for my first hole-in-one, and I got it at Karsten, and then a month later I got it at the Stanford home golf course.
Which hole at the Costa?
7. Hit it like 10 feet past the pin and spun it. Pitching wedge.
That green is horrible.
Yes.
I hate that green so much.
Lots of fun.
I've hit a couple of shots in there and I'm like, that's awesome. And it's just pitched on the wrong side of that left slope and just disappeared over the back of the green. I'm like, oh, well.
That's what Carson does.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Obviously, your golf club, I was going to say golf equipment of choice, but you're a huge Ping ambassador, so we'll skip that question. What is your favorite thing about golf?
I think the social aspect, that you can play with absolutely anyone, compete against absolutely anyone, and it will still be a fair fight. And, you can be out there all day, whereas with a lot of other sports, they're more maybe physically demanding. So you can only practice for a couple of hours a day and then you'll be drained. Whereas with golf, you can play all day, every day for up to a limit, of course. But yeah, you can just hang out with your friends all the time. Very nice.
Favorite on-course golf snack?
Ooh, I like the kind bars.
They're Oklahoma. No, are they Oklahoma based? No, they're not. Kai's bars are Oklahoma based. Close.
Okay.
Same concept. All right. There's one golf course in the world that you wish everybody would get to see it. It could be in Sweden. It could be anywhere. Is there one that stands out? You think, I wish everyone in the golfing world would be able to play this golf course, other than Augusta, because obviously that seems.
I was gonna say Augusta.
Yeah.
Then I say Loch Lomond, because that's very difficult to get to play. But it's super pretty. You get treated like a princess. They have a very nice, huge lake right by it, and you get the Scottish big hills, and it's super nice.
Awesome. Last question. What would you have done if you didn't play golf?
I think top choice would be a soccer player or something, professional. But then I studied psychology, and I like talking with people about their problems. So maybe a therapist.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome. For everyone listening, I'll post your Instagram in the link below, Maja Stark 1. And good luck for the rest of the season. Have a great time in the States and safe travels back home.
Thank you so much.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And finally, our third sponsor for today, the Oklahoma 988 Mental Health Lifeline. 988 is the direct 3-digit lifeline that connects you with the trained behavioral health professionals that can get all Oklahomans the help that they need. Learn more by visiting 988oklahoma.com. It's 988oklahoma.com. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.